Hey there, this is that Detective Mouse game that caught a lot of attention for its beautiful black and white graphics and the mix of 2D with 3D. Today I'm bringing you the complete story of the game, with intense, exciting gameplay full of twists and turns. Our Detective Jack is going to go through a lot to uncover the biggest secrets of this case. He just asks you to like the video since it helps reach more people. Once that's done, let's get to the video. It was the last
stretch, and I was starting to get serious deja vu. Now, where did that bastard go?
There we were, in the middle of a chase. Here begins the saga of Jack Pepper, the greatest private detective in all of Mouseburg. The mission was called Big Mouse, Small Hope. With Shift, you can dash, and that's how I move forward. The posters along the way will give you all the instructions you need. For example, with the M key, you can find the right direction for the game's story. This is very useful on larger maps so you don't get lost. With the F key, you can kick anything that can be punched. And obviously, we can jump and crouch to get through different types of obstacles. And hey, thanks for that little bit of cash. Any good detective must organize their schedule to avoid missing appointments. Let me show you something quickly. No way out in this part, the only option was to jump. Fine. And as you progress, I unlock the little pistol, stay alert to pick up ammo from the ground, and this nice little healing bottle whenever necessary. Nothing like a little cheese syrup to do the trick. At this point, some enemies start to appear until we reach the elevator. Jack was in a big hurry. There was no time to lose. Do it. Arriving at the desired floor, we can save our progress at these typewriters. Here we're also introduced to the most frequent puzzle we'll have throughout our playthrough, cracking protected safes. We'll have to be extremely careful not to make a wrong move and to push all the pins correctly before reaching the end. With that, we unlock the safe and collect the reward. Again, I take down a few more enemies easily, and then later, we learn a bit more about these white wires. Basically, I have to pay attention to them to find the switches that block the passages. This will happen a lot throughout the game, so keep this information in mind. We land a few more headshots and I managed to unlock the path. Finally, we found the bastard.
It's over. You got nowhere left to run. I run toward the dream. A bright future. Ruled by pig vice. You absolute pain. Hell, absolutely. Hey! Hell.
Dry Massa kept running and left a few more sewer rats to be taken out. After wiping everyone out, I tried my luck at these casino machines, but I lost every time. That's why gamblers always end up eating dirt. As you keep exploring, pay close attention to hidden places. The game is full of them, and you can find items to upgrade your character, collectibles, or at least some good cash. But the chase was still on. The guy only knows how to run, and on top of that, whenever he can, he throws his henchmen in my way. I was starting to get pissed off at him. He kept getting away every time. So I took out some of my anger by punching these street rats. That's right, you can get a headshot with just a punch in this game. Just for that, I'd already give the video a like. Later on, there I was, focused on opening another safe, but I had limited time and moves to do it. Then I ended up messing up and the thing jammed. That's right, I just lost whatever was inside. I thought that was messed up, but stay sharp. Because a lot of things in this game won't give you a second chance, you know? We'll see more about that later. Now come back here, you filthy rat.
Stop right there. The hell, he's way too far. I can hear you just fine, you meddling mouse. Really? With the engines and the wind don't care. Fair enough. I'll be there in a blink, all right? Not a chance. This is the end of the line.
Just for a change, I decided to go out kicking and punching everyone there to show who's boss in this mess. And when I managed to get a little closer to him, there...
Out of the boat, too, yes.
Are you falling down?
What? Some falls don't begin in the sky. They begin in quiet rooms with friendly voices and fondue bottles. Mine started a few weeks back. The sky was just the exit moon. It began with a call, routine, familiar. Wanda from the Mouseburg Herald. Usually, she swings by the office with a lead. If it pans out, she hears it first. Simple, really. She gets her story. I get a few bucks to stockpile cheese, and for a moment, Mouseburg gets to breathe easy. But that day was different. She was tight-lipped, meat on sight, details later. Had to be someone big, recognizable. The kind that only says, oops, when they remember they're mortal, too. Something within me, old instinct, baby, said turn back. Let this one go. That this case was more trouble than it was worth. But, well, trouble is what I do.
And now we go back to the very beginning of it all to better understand how we got to that point. There we talked to Wanda Fuller, our journalist partner who brought us the case to investigate. Wanda and Jackie are old friends. She's always helping him solve cases, doing everything she can to get the scoop firsthand. And this time she tells us about a magician who really disappeared in the middle of a show. They say he was kidnapped, but no one has the answer. His stage name is Magnificent Bendel, but Jackie already knew him, and we understand that his real name is Steve Bendel. This immediately sparks the interest of our rat detective, and now he just needs to infiltrate the crime scene. Wanda lends him her press pass, since she said the security guard is kind of clueless and won't even notice it's not him in the photo, and that's exactly what happens.
I get in without an ID. Here you go. The office is doing very well today, Mrs. Fuller. Oh, hi.
Whoa, what was that, man? Ayo, that's way too sus. On the maps, you can also find newspapers, which can reveal more about the campaign's lore, or even about the lore of the entire game universe. The newspaper is called Mouseburg Herald, and here it mainly talks about Betty Lynch, or Batchy Lynch, who was found dead. She was a minor actress and former assistant to Steve Bendel. But apparently it was some kind of accident, since the police ruled out the possibility of murder and the case was closed. Going back to the exploration, I needed to find the key to Bendel's dressing room. I spot a ventilation shaft leading straight to the main stage. On a large water pipe, I find the key lying there and quickly pocket it. With everything ready, it was time to search that dressing room. Inside a drawer, we found a relevant clue. Nice job, guys. We got the address of another Betty. This is Betty Fiddle, a temporary assistant for Steve. Now I just needed to get out of this theater. But before that, I took a picture of his poster since it could be important. And of course, leaving wouldn't be that simple, right? We're introduced to armor, items we can find around that will give us an extra life. It's like their vests. They protect you from projectiles and shots, but not from fall damage, for example. I took down a few more punks, and heading outside, the new mission is to go to Betty Fiddle's apartment. But out of nowhere, some lunatics crash a pickup truck nearby. As I got closer, a few more shadows showed up, but nothing that a good beating and some shots couldn't handle. The city seemed kind of chaotic, but I managed to move on. I find another secret spot, grab some cash, and keep heading toward the address. On the way, I saw a locked loft that needed a key, and for that I had to learn how to blow up explosive barrels on top of some not-so-suspicious walls. Another way to defeat enemies is by dropping hanging objects on them, just like in a cartoon. Inside the bathroom, I grab the key and manage to unlock the door. In the loft, I find my first diagram, a very useful item that I'll explain what it's for soon, moving forward and collecting everything I found. As I walked in, we saw another accident. I'm beginning to think these guys are cheese drunk or something. This can't keep happening. Even after crashing, they still want to shoot it out with the master. Go figure. Then we get the next mission, which is to cross the subway. But before that, I find more of those comic strips. I believe that collecting all of them must tell some kind of side story. Anyway, I headed toward the subway, and the place was pretty crowded, so I put my gun away to avoid any kind of trouble. Check out this guy's look. See, that's what happens when you don't leave a like. You end up like this. Look at his face. See, that's you. Totally out of it, man, so make sure to leave a like, my friend. The subway's packed here. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So people here are on edge. Everyone's already arguing. I think things are about to go bad. Huh. Can we get him? Ha. Where are you? Where are you? Come on. Oh, sucker. I liked that. Get out of here, bro. You too, get out. Look at the way these guys are camping, man. That's really cool. Let's do parkour. Come on, let's go. Turn on the switch. Look, the thing is coming. The door's open. Let me just check if there's nothing else here. That's it, my friends. Let's go. Take a break, loser. Look, the idiots are already coming. Hold on, man. Blow up, fool. Go ahead and blow it up, Otis. Blow it up. Good job. Oh my god, they turned into skeletons, man. What a dump, huh? Find Beth. And finally, outside and next to her apartment, it was time to find out what was going on. Then we found her cut in half. What the heck? We had 2 questions to ask. And because I was afraid I'd only have one chance, I chose to ask about Bendel's disappearance. I'm looking for Steve.
Well, who isn't? He disappeared, and now some mobsters are trying to get the money they lost on the show. I'm ruined.
Apparently, a lot of people were after Steve. Small gangs, the mafia, women, the police, but mostly the PR, the party known as the Republic Rat Party. They and Steve met from time to time. She said the set designer can confirm this for us because he used to hang out with Steve and the PR crowd. With that, we already had a lead to follow. Unfortunately, the game didn't let me ask what happened to her, so anyway, that's just too bad. Over there, we have another edition of the Herald newspaper. This one gives a very brief account. The story of Shedder Shatter Bendism and its surprising migration to street racing. When the number of smugglers started to decrease, several former drivers decided to go legit and began organizing races through the swamp and the outskirts of Malzburg. But there was only one rule: they couldn't hit the brakes. The guys are posting street races, man. I just played Need for Speed. You missed the timing there. Damn, what the heck is this? But this thing is really weird, you know, and there's a torn page.
I do everything for him, but he doesn't notice. The way I dress, the way I curl my tail to tease with my curves, what I do on stage. I do everything he used to do and so much more, but Steve is still hung up on that witch, even though she's not even alive anymore. At this point, I'm going to have to do what Karen said and go to the swamp, see if that Shrew grandma isn't just a tall tale. I know it's wrong, but I'd do anything to make Steve fall in love.
Yeah, she was starting to do some witchcraft here to try to win Steve over, right? But anyway, it didn't work out. Let's go, guys. Oh, wow, good. Grab the cash. There's nothing else here. Let's get in the car. When I got to my office, I needed to talk to Wanda to tell her everything we found out. Maybe she could give me some guidance. Before that, I explored the map a bit and vaguely met Tammy, the owner of the ammo shop, some dancing plants, and a trippy, spaced-out little frog, which is an ammo shop. You can also buy newspaper editions, baseball cards, and more comic strips. About the baseball cards, I'll explain them to you better later on. At this point, I didn't even understand them myself. I even bought the power swing thinking I was going to get a baseball bat to hit people with, but it has nothing to do with that, man. Anyway, going over to the bar, we have John Brown, a short little mouse, who is none other than the owner of the bar and also an old friend of ours. In the conversation, we learned that these little mice are from the Shrew species, which are those cute little mice. Here in the game, they apparently face prejudice, but we'll talk more about that later. Exploring the back of the bar, we find a secret place, and there we get our first doll. 1. Shotgun. Man, don't ask me to explain what that was. Just make sure to find them if you want to get 100%. Still in the bar, we see Wanda and talk to her. Fortunately, she already tells me the name of the set designer, whose name is Holland. Apparently, he's really good at what he does. With that, it's more than enough to start putting together our evidence board. So let's head to our office. When you use the board for the first time, there's a brief tutorial, but it's really simple. We stick all the clues we've found and hope it's enough to move forward with the investigation. Yeah, sometimes we might hit a dead end, but let's hope everything works out. And now, our mission is to go after Holland, the set designer, over at the Grand Opera House in Malzburg. To continue, let's head to the car. From there, we have access to the city map, and yes, you can freely drive your beautiful car around until you reach your destination. At the entrance, we ask if Roland is present, and the waiter confirms that he is. Inside, I find more newspapers, but this one is from the old days. Here it tells details about the feud between the mice and the shrews. It seems they were good at business and started getting too rich. Some rats started getting annoyed with their success. And because they even received the same salary. Yeah, remember that prejudice I told you about? This is just the beginning of a persecution that's still going to happen. Continuing the exploration, we're going in through the back, and there, we managed to take a nice picture from inside. It looks like several members of the PR are attending the event. Chatting with this sly waiter, he asks me for 30 coins. I'm going to use a good shortcut to break into the opera. That's it, my man. Come on, come on. And really, now we're inside. It was time to look for the set designer. In one of the rooms, you can hear his voice from afar. We also found dynamite, an item that's going to be very important for opening paths and also blowing up some trashy guys. And not just walls, but you can also break some floors too. Then, we found the set designer trapped and tied up for some unknown reason. We freed him and started talking. When we ask about Steve, he doesn't feel comfortable talking in that place. It seems that some infiltrated extras started beating up the artists. They even stole some costumes. They're probably the ones I faced on the way. And most importantly, their plan was to assassinate Cornelia Stilton, the city's mayoral candidate. With that, we had no time to lose. It was time to stop them from killing the candidate. In the next room, we got a new weapon, a beautiful shotgun. Now we're talking. Things are getting good. And after testing it out on some filthy rats, I find a baseball card lying around. Collect them all you can to improve your deck in the card game. Like I said, I'll show you more about it later. Another very important item in this room is the piece of cheese. You can keep those in your pocket and eat them when you need some extra health. You can carry up to 9 of them in your bag. I kept exploring, defeating more rats, activating switches, and facing more enemies. And going through new regions and different backstage scenarios of the opera until I meet Blee's rat and the old stunt double. Listen here, my friend, I'm going to teach you the ancient technique, Abandoned, the most complex one in the Ratverse. You can double jump in the air. Did you know that? What? That makes no sense. What is the master talking about, huh? I'll beat you up. You're supposed to jump while in the air. And up there, you need to think that you're still on the ground. And then you know what you do, you jump again, but with a lot of willpower. What nonsense. Friend, trust the old man. Thank you, little game, for giving me this skill from the start. Message, you are the mayor. Next, we have more news, including a story about Mossman, a fantastical creature that supposedly appeared in the swamp regions, which is the outskirts of Mouseburg. Is it real or just a legend? Maybe we'll have the answer later on. Let's move on with the new skills. And finally, we reach the cannon, the one that would send Stilton packing, solving the problem out of nowhere. An actor's strike begins, and a boss fight against the prima donna, a beautiful opera singer, who is completely delirious for unknown reasons. All that's left for us is to fight, so we don't end up as the victim instead of Stilton. The fight itself is pretty easy, just use -Zim to dodge the attacks. While shooting with your preferred weapon, without much difficulty, she goes down completely. But now everything was on fire, and I needed to find the exit as soon as possible. All the paths seemed blocked, and it was getting harder and harder to find a way out. When everything seemed lost, we're saved by the set designer who was already outside. That's right, my friend, just be grateful for the help, talking more calmly with him. We understand that Jack has known Steve for a long time, since the days of the old world. Back then, our protagonist was known as the Trench Destroyer. That's right. There was a time of intense war in the past, and Jack and Steve served in the army. Now, about information on Steve. Roland says that during the drinking sessions. He mentioned something about having a laboratory under his mansion, but since he was reserved, we don't have any information about the address of this mansion. But at least this already helps with our next clue. It was time to go back to the office. Arriving in the city, I make a point of trying out a card baseball game. It works like this. There are 2 innings. In the first, we are the batter, and in the second, the pitcher. The idea is to score more points than the opponent as the batter, and defend as much as possible when you're the pitcher. For that, we need good cards with high strength or defense scores. Each inning has 5 rounds, which are your chances to score when batting. If your card is much stronger than the ones chosen by your opponent, you can hit a home run. Otherwise, you'll only be able to advance on the bases. Or, if your card is much weaker, you'll miss the ball. The game also has some mechanics with secondary abilities, like speed and blocking, which make the game a little more interesting. But my best tip for you is, don't play this at the beginning. Find more cards throughout the stages and buy upgrades. First, have a good deck. Only then will you be able to win matches later on. With each victory, you earn a token, and by collecting 20, you unlock a secret weapon at the bar. I only found out about this later, but I'll tell you what happened. I lost my 50 coins there, and I went toward the evidence board to put up the new clues without hesitation. To move forward this time, I decided to talk to Stilton, who was outside. It seems that he's also a good friend of ours and also knew Steve. He said that Steve used to go to the mansion to reflect. Fortunately, he had the address, and it's out there toward the suburbs of Moosey Mouseburg. I just thanked my partner Cornelius. He really saved the day. Nearby, there was also a young mouse selling the daily newspaper. In this edition, we learned more about the PR party, which is the rival party to Cornelius's. It was created with a focus on big, strong, and conservative mice. Little by little, it has been gaining more and more strength, and optionally, I went to talk to Wanda. I shared all the new information we had gathered so far. Now it was finally time to go in search of this so-called secret laboratory. When we got there, for some reason, we were greeted by some hostile enemies. These are the Sectarians. They wear clothes kind of like a secret cult. Now, what they're doing here is something we were still gonna find out. We easily made it to the elevator. And wouldn't you know it, we actually arrive at some kind of laboratory. Anyway, I kept moving forward, finally defeating a few more cult rats and unlocking passages. Until suddenly we end up in a room with an angry octopus staring at me. In the room above, there's a note called Building Betty, Day 6. I can't forgive myself, I just can't. My thoughts keep going back to Betty, to the point where I want to shelve my work on the unknown. Bring her back. It wouldn't just be a trick to stay in memory. No, you can't make a river flow backwards. No, there's no use crying over spilled milk. Still, if I could ask one question. No. The only thing I've always wanted to know is, the rest is stained with fondue. Okay. It seems like he knows something about Betty's death, and he also talks about a work called The Unknown. We just had more questions than answers, but we have to keep investigating. In that same room, we unlocked a new weapon. This is the Fader. Honestly, for me, it's one of the best weapons in the game, especially against bosses. It throws acid at enemies, causing continuous damage. If you shoot more, the damage keeps increasing, and that's what makes it really overpowered. After unlocking all the passages, we made it to the other side of the room. And there, the path is suddenly blocked. We have to reactivate that projector after defeating a big wave of enemies. I keep exploring and even find a hidden baseball card. Moving forward, we reach another room, and there we have a cheap knockoff robotic Betty.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to be annihilated.
But this one hit as hard as a pistol. Imagine a really tough, resilient enemy. Some attacks require jumping or crouching to avoid, while others can't be dodged, unless you protect yourself with the barrier that appears randomly. This is probably the first fight I found challenging at the beginning. In the final part, her attacks become completely random, and by luck, I found out that if you crouch in this little corner, you're almost 100% protected from the lasers. So my friend, keep firing relentlessly until you finish off this bastard. I didn't know the new weapon's potential yet, but use it in this fight. That will definitely make your life 1000% easier. Exploring the area, you'll find the person in charge of Steve's lab, someone named Igor. Yes, his name is Igor, so make sure to say it correctly. Igor.
No, Master. It's Igor. That's what I said. No, you said Igor, but it's pronounced Igor.
In conversation, we found out that Betty Lynch first left Steve, and only later did she pass away. Strange, right? That's when Steve had the idea to recreate Betty as a robot, because he couldn't bear to lose his beloved. It seems that we might be able to find a more complete version of Betty by going deeper into the lab. Thank you, Igor. You are Igor. Continuing with the exploration, we found another note from Bendel. For the love of all that is holy, I'm tired of these idiots. I let them come take shelter in my house, maybe even work a little. It might have been used for experiments, but it became a mess that's hard to fix and impossible to control. I don't know what to do. Kicking them out isn't an option. Maybe closing off the underground area is best. Let's just keep this information in mind, because everything is still a bit confusing right now, and we finally managed to turn the projector back on, even without knowing what the heck this is. Hidden beside it, I find another note. Building Betty, Day 47 it. Every step, every move brings me closer to my masterpiece. Betty. Whole again. I never could have imagined that money would be the problem, not the technology or the unknown. It's bills. Of all things, that's what's stopping me from completing my plan. My investments went sour. They cut the dividends without even telling me. I didn't ask why. I don't need to, but I will finish my work, no matter what it costs. Igor is anxious. He looks like a caged crocodile. Sweeps the floor all day, all the time, as if he feels that something is about to happen. And finally, going to the projector room, we're greeted by yet another messed up version of Betty. Damn it.
Another one. Please tell me they didn't go for the rule of
3.
There's no light, no fire, no strength. It can only float. Otter.
This piece of metal junk isn't much different from the first one. This one will keep dropping a bunch of landmines besides trying to hit you in close combat. Oh, and be careful because those bombs it leaves on the ground will explode after a certain time, even if you don't step on them, so watch out for that. And this time, I insist on using the phase shifter. With each shot, the thing takes continuous damage, and just like that, we easily take it down.
My story is already over.
Mine's already gone.
In there, we have an elevator in that little house, but using it was actually a trap. Or at least it seemed like one. Around here, we even faced some robot guards and did a lot of parkour. I also found some collectible items, and in the end, we found the complete version of Beat. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, the only degree I got is a pedigree in shootouts.
The protagonist here, man, jinxed it when he said it could be a trilogy. But let's go. Face Betty 100 evolved this time. It's a combination of all the previous attacks plus some new abilities, like these flashy moves there. But as I already told you, just hit her with acid without mercy and there's no mistake. The creature's life just melts away. I kept pushing until in the end, we took her down for good. Once and for all, sigh.
I am cold.
Steve, when I find you, we're gonna have a long talk about your life choices.
After the fight, I collected all the items in the room and found a good clue. A disembarkation card from the docks from 3 days ago, signed by the Coast Guard. And someone named Von Harzer mentions a huge submarine. We still don't know who Von Harzer is, but he must be the key to a lot of things here. With nothing else to do, I use our Vasophone and go back to the city. Back at the office, we have a new instruction. Read Grash's dirty notice. Advanced ballistics and new gadgets. The magazine isn't delivering the firepower you promised. Are you tired of these party popper shots and want a real explosion? It doesn't matter if you're looking for a longer barrel, faster shots, or a special touch. Stop by my workshop because with my bang, I'll upgrade that pistol of yours. Whoa, look, it seems like TM is up to something. Next to the back door of the bar, you'll find Tammy's workshop. Basically, it's thanks to her that we'll be able to upgrade our weapons, increasing damage, projectiles, and ammo capacity. And yes, this is where you'll use the blueprints, so it's really important that you search every area thoroughly so you don't miss any secrets. And with all the blueprints we've collected, we managed to upgrade the pistol and the shotgun to level 2 and the disintegrator to level 1. As a recommendation for you, my friend, I would say to focus more on the disintegrator than on the shotgun. The thing gets way more overpowered than it already is. One thing I thought was missing in her workshop was some kind of test dummy or target to try out the new damage and firepower of the weapon, but other than that, everything's fine. Now it was time to talk to Wanda. Most importantly, we found out that Betty Lynch was Steve's assistant, but she left him to go work at Tinsel Brothers to pursue an acting career. Tinsel Avenue is basically their version of Hollywood. From that, now we have to understand how Steve brought together mad scientists and cultists in one place. It must have something to do with that project of his, the unknown one. But anyway, it was time to put the clues on our board. In the office, Stilton shows up and he wants to talk about another little problem that's been happening, but he was having a bit of trouble speaking.
That's it. Boros.
Basically, some shrew mice have started to disappear from the map. Their success in business has irritated some wealthy conservatives. So for sure, there's something really messed up going on. It seems that even the police are involved in this, and so we received the new mission to investigate the disappearances of the Shrews over there on Clergy Street. Putting all the clues on the board, we were left with no leads to follow, so I let it go for now and decided to investigate Stilton's case. Without wasting time, I grab my car and head to the unlocked area. And, my friend, right away, we found a scared Shrew. He was running from the police. You're crazy, my partner. They're surrounding us and taking us away. I wish it was just jail, but my friend got arrested and simply vanished from the sea. Then he said he was gonna run away to the swamp, and out of nowhere, the police showed up. I have no other choice but to take down these corrupt guys from Lalau. We moved forward and found more and more police officers, causing chaos in this district. You can even see a poor Shrew getting beaten up in the middle of an alley. Yeah, guys, things are getting way too crazy of mice. At least I can take a picture to have as evidence of everything that's happening here. I keep following the tracks until suddenly, in the middle of the shootout, I get taken out, getting hit with a random one-shot kill. I had absolutely no idea what had just happened. After respawning, I notice a train track in the middle. A train appears occasionally to surprise players who aren't alert, so be careful. In a secret area, I find an old edition of the newspaper. It tells about a report that Wanda made, which brought down one of the biggest mafia families in Mouseburg. But that might have made room, right, for other forces to take that place. Continuing with the exploration, this part of the game has a really cool reference. In this backpack, besides finding a key needed to move forward, you'll get Popeye's famous spinach. Yes, that's right, but we get super strong and activate fight mode. At this point, you can't even use your weapon, only your fists. But don't worry, each punch is now 100 times more powerful, so it's really just for you to have fun, beating everyone up. Moving forward, we have a new type of mechanic where we can shoot these targets to open up paths and passages. Little by little, we're getting closer to the local police station, and then I have to find a way, right, to sneak into this place. Inside there, things are really weird, and especially when we get to the jail area, we find a good cop who was unfairly arrested. He confirms that there are several police officers and officials here at the station, that they've been playing dirty, doing really bad things. In this same area, there are 2 doors locked by puzzles again, and I thought that was pretty cool. The basic thing is to test each lever to understand its numbering. Then you do some math until you reach the desired value. There's really no secret to it, guys. Moving forward along the path, we get a new weapon, the famous James gun, that old school machine gun for letting off steam. This weapon here is also really good, you know? Especially when there are a lot of enemies to defeat at the same time. In the guy's office, inside a safe, I find a map of the city's sewer system. And we have some manholes and tunnels marked in red. Could this be the destination of the Shrews? Anyway, I think it was time to leave. Now, we need to escape the district. Because those damn corrupt people won't let it go easily. So here we go. I'll take down all the rat creatures I find along the way. There were explosions and a lot of gunfire until I finally managed to reach the car.
It didn't seem like much at first. I wasn't even sure it was a case, but the job they handed me still felt like I stepped right on a buried mine. The mess with the Shrews, well, calling it a ruckus doesn't seem to cut it. Poor bastards. I was in too deep, way deeper than I signed up for. Stilton. He shoved me into this mess. Now it's his turn to pull me back out.
Arriving in the city, I really needed to talk to Stilton. We explained the whole situation and the evidence we found. What wasn't supposed to be a big deal turned into something much more complicated. As I pinned the new case to the board, the Shrew shortage case ended up close to the initial case. But maybe everything will connect later on. Somehow, it was time to pay a visit to the old subway. In some missions, some NPCs can give you side quests to do. In return, you'll usually get a spiked Jeep token, the same one you get in the card games. But be careful, if you fail any of them, there's no way to redo it. You only have one chance to complete them, or you can also use the function to reload old saves, so keep an eye on that. But let's go towards the old subway. Right at the entrance, the Masaseka show up to bother you. Just so you know, these guys are even taking the subway to come after me, man. And finally, after a lot of fighting, we find our first clue, a small shrew hat. Could there be a mouse trafficking ring going on? That would definitely be concerning. And all the enemies we face around here are known as Shadow Shedder Bandistas. Just with that name, you can already imagine what they do, right? Yeah, man, in the world of rats, there's that illegal cheese that gets you high too, dude. But anyway, let's move on. And little by little, we're entering the sewer area. Imagine a place full of miserable rats just to annoy you. That's crazy, man. But after a lot of exploring and fighting in this cursed sewer, I finally find someone who can help us. Time to interrogate the subway worker.
Hey, calm down, boss. Don't shoot, please. I'm not part of those lousy Shadow Shedder Bandistas. They came through here and didn't have any tickets. Not to mention those disgusting saltwater clothes. I'm sure that has something to do with their shady business. I think they went toward the canals. That's all I know. But what about you, huh? Where's your ticket?
I pretended not to hear and got out of there right away, you know, guys. Before the old man blocked our way, our next mission is to find the boss of those thugs. For that, I had to get past several enemies. Until then, we met Vicatori, the giant sewer crocodile.
So the rumors are true. A giant gator in the sewers with a gamble gun. You better believe it, Bob.
Let's go then. Take down the unlucky guy. Basically, he'll shoot at you every time he sees you. But the idea is to trick him and then run through the containers to get him from behind. The only annoying thing is the mini crocs he summons to bother you. Another great tip, use fire barrels to inflict more damage, but be careful not to set yourself on fire with the boss. After a lot of shooting and explosions, the stinky big lizard is done for. Sorry, buddy. And inside his little house, there was a skill book lying around, and that's how we learned the slam move. By pressing control in the air, you can do that monstrous glide. You gotta respect the flying rat, huh? With this skill, you can fly around using the air currents through the pipes. Little by little, the game tries to make the parkours harder, but honestly, after all the games I've played on this channel, everything I've seen here so far is pretty easy to get through. Moving forward along this secret wall, I found another one of those little figures. Honestly, I did pretty badly and couldn't find almost any of them during my gameplay, so sorry about that. They must be really well hidden, or I'm just really blind, which honestly is much more likely. After that, luckily, I find the so-called foreman, and it was time to ask him a few questions. After a slight threat, he says that the Shadow Cheddar smugglers were only in charge of transporting the Shrews. The police are the ones behind everything. And that smell of salt water is because the little mice are being taken to Pancata Bay over on the city's coast. However, the idiot doesn't have the exact address. So we'll have to go back to the office to analyze the situation. But of course, before leaving, the Shadow guys set up an ambush, nothing that a few gunshots can't solve. After taking everyone out, our little car comes by itself through the sewer. Yeah, F, are you kidding me? My car is awesome. Back in the city, I needed to talk to Stilton first. This time, he was at the bar. I told him all the new information and moved on. For some reason, I still have my doubts about our protagonist telling him everything, but I could be wrong. Now in our office, I started putting up all the clues, and we can already see that the cases are coming together, right? Especially with that note from the Coast Guard. But before continuing with the investigation, a neat little rat shows up in the room.
It was a day like any other. Until her. The woman. That woman. She waltzed into my office like she owned the place. Didn't have to say a word. I saw her voice the moment she walked through the door, wrapped in makeup and a cloud of perfume reserved for the sleaziest Tinsel brother's body. No, that voice.
Not a contralto. The contralto. Thick, rough.
Like Gorgonzola picante slapped on a matzo roll, her mozzarella. Monsieur Jacques.
This is Vivian McCarty, a beautiful little mouse who comes to ask for my help with a specific case. She is convinced that her friend, Betty Lynch, was murdered. For her, the culprits are the people from the film industry, more specifically the people from Tinsel Avenue. It seems that her death was not just an accident, as the police said. Well, anyway, we had reached an impasse, so I guess it doesn't hurt to go take a look at her case. I got my little car and set off for a short trip. When we got there, the idea was to go to the main building of the Tinsel Brothers' studio. And of course, we were greeted with gunfire. I wasn't sure, but I think they're more like Shadow Cheddar Band members, or maybe even the Mafia. Yeah, man, the more I investigate these cases, the more I realize there are more and more people involved in shady stuff. After shooting everyone, I find an overturned truck full of blue cheese. It's odd to see a truck like that on Tinsel Avenue. Moving forward, breaking into some buildings and throwing some bombs around. There's nothing left, not even for little Batinia, man. And one really cool thing about this map is that everywhere you go is like a movie set. I saw somewhere that this game has a lot of references to the world of cinema and even to other games. So if you like this kind of thing, you're gonna think it's really awesome. After several waves of enemies, we finally made it to the main building. Now I needed to find someone who would spill the beans and tell the truth. Inside, already upstairs, I find a piece of a burned letter in one of the rooms. Never mind. The Cambazzoni family was already on its last legs, but their trump card sealed their fate, clearing the way for us, even though that wasn't the plan. Our hands are cleaner than the laundry lines behind Claro Street. Tell Johnny 92 we've started phase 2. I hope he's handled the paperwork. The signature was removed. Could this Cambazzoni family mentioned be the one that Wanda managed to report? Most likely. And now there are new gangs wanting to take their place. After crawling through a vent, we found a very strange room with several little mice working non-stop. Then we pulled the switch to set everyone free.
Be free, little birds. Just don't come back!
Everyone gets happy and leaves quickly, but I still have no idea what might be going on. When I get to the locker room, I start opening all the doors until I manage to find someone suspicious. And in one of those, we meet Gabe Clark.
What's up, man? I heard gunshots outside. No.
It was just the sound effects from a cop movie. Don't worry, but hey, do you know anything about Betty, people?
The only thing I know is that they took all her stuff out of the trailer and put it somewhere else.
She kind of disappeared, you know, but the pyrotechnician from the shoot knew her better.
In fact, she's here on the 7th set.
I think she can help you better. Well, that's definitely better than nothing. Besides, the fact that they made her things disappear too is really strange. But let's go. Let's keep exploring this huge place. The enemies in this damn place just kept showing up. And the funniest thing is that from time to time, the director gives some instructions in the background. Apparently there's a live filming going on right there. They mention a stunt double who got stuck, and we actually meet him. This is Rocky Ford.
Hey man, here's the deal. I took Spike D's meds and now I can't even think straight. But don't worry, I need you to do this scene for me. Just grab the statues and take them to the marked spot. Use your tail and you won't have any problems.
And that's how we learn the grabbing tail skill. Now we can pull a Spider-Man and swing around with our tail. Wait, hold on. Come on, guys. Don't get any weird ideas, okay? After placing the 3 statues in position, it was time to escape from the giant ball. Oh no, hold on, guys. What's going on? I really like this reference to the great Indiana Jones.
Well, that got me somewhere.
Moving forward, my friends, I finally found the so-called pyrotechnician. When I asked about Betty, she told me that she would often meet with a guy in a fancy suit, always in secret. And even better, she told me that her trailer's stuff was taken to somewhere past the medieval set. In other words, we have an address. Just thank my partner from Kaboom. Now it's time to find this place. Let's set these guys on fire. And after a lot of trouble, I finally find Betty's dressing room. In the drawer, there's a photo of her next to Milford Sawyer, one of the candidates for mayor from the PR. A note with a terrible perfume smell is attached to it, and right below, there's a key. With the clues we needed, I used the key to get out and leave the studio once and for all. It was time to go back to the office. In the city, I needed to talk to Vivian. We understood that Betty was getting very involved with the PR crowd and possibly even more financially influential people in society. It seems she got close to Sawyer through his spokesperson named Miles Kirk. Our best chance right now is to go after Miles to try to get some information. When we put the new clues on our board, we were able to read the note that was with the photo. The afternoon was really great. I'm glad you enjoyed the outing. That submarine that showed up at Dock D12 in the north of Bahia Pancada was impressive, Milford Sawyer. With that, we had 2 options. Go to the opera, since Kirk might be there after the mess we made last time we were there, or go to Bahia Pancada. But for that, I needed to get a few leads from Tem. In an optional conversation with Vivian, Jack shows that he's wary about her. After all, she was very involved with the Tinsel Bros, and now she was here, directly blaming them for Betty's death. Anyway, only time will tell about her. I went to talk to Tammy to get the information right away. She talks about a shady and kind of smelly guy named Cameron Bozo. It seems like he might have heard something. Just thank her, the Tamster. Oh, and don't forget to always upgrade your weapons so you don't struggle later on in the stages. We had 2 destinations and a choice to make. The Opera House was closer, so I decided to stop by there. The place was kind of messed up because some rat around here, you know, caused some trouble a few days ago, right? Who could it have been? But I had to look for Miles. Then, out of nowhere while I was walking, the floor collapsed and the game killed me instantly, just to keep me on my toes. Now you know, right? When I arrived, I double jumped so I wouldn't die. We quickly found Curd, the well-known Republic Rat Party spokesperson. It was time to question him about Betty.
Look here, I know all the good
investigators from
the station, and I don't know you.
I can assure you that Mr. Sawyer, at most, had a few drinks with her during some film event.
But a powerful public figure like Milford will always have
celebrities,
insignificant people wanting to lose,
catch a ride on the
sidewalk tail, but that doesn't mean anything.
But you know, I have photos that prove otherwise, where there seems to be a much greater and not just occasional closeness.
She always crashed parties for attention. People like that aren't worth anything.
You seem to have an issue with her. Is there something I should know?
Look here, Jack, take my advice.
And leave now.
Get out of my way. I'm too busy to continue this conversation.
It doesn't make sense. Get out. Man, he got pissed off all of a sudden, pinched. We have a lot to think about from this conversation, but for now, it's better to leave. Back at the office, I went to talk to Vivian again. We understand that Betty, besides having been close to Milford in some way, also had contact with Miles Curdy since he acted strangely suspicious when talking about her. By putting the clues on the board, we now have the mission to go to Cord's Curtisville out in the countryside, so we're moving forward with 2 missions at the same time, and this time, my friends, it was time to head down to BC, to Bahia Pancada. Aside from the smell of rotten fish that filled the place, I found an interesting little newspaper on the table. In this edition, Steve Bandel was facing an accusation of blue cheese abuse. But nothing was proven and the accusations were completely dropped. And I like that in the translation they wrote that Steve farmed mouse aura, man. Anyway, let's keep moving forward. There was a seaside pub there that, for suspicious reasons, was completely closed. I decided not to hesitate and just go right in. And look, the guys were trying to disguise themselves, but they were all corrupt cops. And with not much else to do, we're in the middle of an ambush and the shootout begins. Later on, there's another really good reference. Out of nowhere, Jack drinks a cup of coffee and he gets Cuphead's skill. And then he starts shooting from his finger. You gotta respect it, there's no other way. After blasting everyone with my finger, I needed to chase the corrupt officer behind this attack. He definitely knows something. Without much delay, it's time for a boss fight with him.
Now you better drop this silliness and tell me.
Are you dare? You drop when I say drop. Yeah, to hell with you, Pepper. I ain't telling you nothing.
The best part is we get a new weapon here, the tonneau cannon. Bring out the bazooka, my friends. Basically, we have to defeat the enemies while aiming the cannon at the building, trying to find him through the window. Honestly, it's a bit of an annoying fight because there are a lot of waves of enemies. I had to eat a lot of cheese to survive. After dying once, I learned my lesson and managed to focus more on the boss so I wouldn't drag out these waves too much. And just like that, we sent the unlucky guy packing.
Sometimes you knock it down.
Going up to the wreckage, we talk to him. He tells me that Bozo, a friend of Temmie, was being attacked by them and gives me his location where he's being held. Now all I had to do was head over there, taking out anyone who got in my way and destroying some structures. Hold on, if you made it this far, leave a hello for Gary from SpongeBob in the comments. And also leave a like for Gary. Gary appreciates it. We're together, Gary. You are Gary. And finally, my friends, we've reached the right place. There actually was a cop there slapping Bozo around. It was time to talk to him.
That's it, my man. You did us a solid.
Thank Temmie for that.
But go on, tell me everything. Everything, boss. Well, I was born here in Mouseburg, right?
My mom used to work over there at... No, idiot. I'm talking about the missing mice.
Got it, boss. So,
there's a new herd agreement.
This is just another stop. The police chat with the scientists. Scientists led by Professor Zoo. It used to be
some
more secretive agreements. But lately they've been getting better, acting crazy without mercy.
And where are they making these deals?
Boss, they're taking over areas in the outskirts, like Bob's workshop, Letitia's pharmacy, and
mainly using
the old underground shelter in the upper part of the city. The party. I used to stay there, but they kicked me out, boss. But I mean, I have the pharmacy key here, boss. If you want, I can give it to you for $50.
We bought the key from that crook and kept exploring. I found the Little Frog family's secret hideout. Anyway, let's head to the shelter. On the way, we found another newspaper edition. It briefly talks about the disappearance of the Shrews, but it seems like only a few are mentioned and others are left out, as if it really wasn't a very important article. Besides that, here in this same area, we found a new clue, and the renewal of the supply agreement for another 14 days signed OOCAP and XX scribbled next to it, with something that smells like something illegal in the background. We still don't know whose signatures those are. Now, we just need to head to the pharmacy, which required me to defeat more trash along the way. When I arrived, there was another clue on the counter. It looks like they delivered anti-nausea medication to some guys from the old world, as if it was nothing, more specifically medicine for seasickness. And right next to it, we have the workshop key. With no other choice, I keep moving forward. And when we get there, we find another revealing clue. More than 100 shrews transported at a time. Where did they go? What happened to them? Now making my way back to the boat. We found two key rats for this whole situation. Captain Sims and the scientist rat, who is probably the zoo professor.
Captain is Captain Goddamn Sims, the cop of the year himself. So much for that. But the other guy must be a zoo professor. He's got that particular brand on the quite big affair, Egghead. I'd rather forget. And here come the lackeys walking in on me like, nah, hell.
Yeah, guys, the trash got away and I was the one left to defeat everyone. After that, it was time to go back to the office through the little boat's toilet phone. Back in the city, I needed to hang up all these clues. And there on the board, we learned that the police are totally working together with the scientist. They're the ones responsible for the disappearance of the Shrews. The motivation is still a mystery. On top of that, now even the corrupt police are after me, man. Anyway, the next stop is going to be out at the distant swamp up, just like Bozo told us. Looking at the map, I decide to go to Curdsville first. The idea is to alternate between missions and not just focus on one. Let's go start our next adventure. One thing I noticed is that the maps are getting bigger and bigger.
Everything is hidden and empty, just the way I used to draw it.
Moving forward, we meet Grandma Shrew for the first time. Hello, my dear.
Isn't this place a bit unfriendly, spiritually? I'd say you should turn back. Besides, you don't seem to be one of us.
Take this amulet.
For protection, you'll need it. See you soon?
Man, the old lady is tough. She just used the disappearing magic, but let's go. On this map, we get the new weapon, Kiss and Cheese. It's a special shotgun that sets the trash on fire. But be careful because it has very few bullets, so use it wisely. This place will also have some suspicious portals that will take you to other areas. In this mansion, we mostly see cultists. What could they be doing here, huh? I found all of this really strange. Right at the gate, the caretaker was guarding the place. Really pissed off. He doesn't let us through, and because I insisted so much, he said he even remembered his ex-wives. A pretty random piece of information, but it will be relevant. Right on time, Grandma Muzarana shows up again. This time, she reveals a good plan to help me get through the gate. If I find the 3 wedding rings of the caretaker's deceased ex-wives, something really sinister is going to happen. Let's go then, my friends. The first one is right over there. There.
3 rings. Sure, what could possibly go?
On the way to get there, I find a new clue. Betty Lynch grew up in the village near the Curdy family estate. A school acting contest award is framed in a crooked frame to Betty Lynch for her unique ability to erase herself from her own consciousness and fill it entirely with the purpose of acting. She came in second. Look at that, it seems she had some closeness with the Curdy family, huh? Continuing the search for the rings, the first wife appears as a ghost. And of course, we easily managed to convince her to join us to get revenge on her ex-husband, Palando. I kept searching for the other rings. On the way, I even solved the windmill problem, unlocking the key to the cheese bomb. So without wasting time, I went there and activated the bomb.
Boing. On Capel. There goes cheese from underground.
Now going through the path that was unlocked, we found the second lost ring. This wife was thrown into the well, just like that. The caretaker definitely really deserves what's coming to him. And now, following the cave crack, we have a portal, and it takes us to the 3rd ring, but with this one, it was a little different.
Thief! Oathbreaker! There's no takesies backsies in marriage, husband!
I'm not him.
This ex-wife is really pissed, and on top of that, she thinks I'm the caretaker. Yeah, we're in trouble, guys. How am I supposed to take out someone who's already dead? It took me a while to figure out what I needed to do, but you guys don't have to go through that. The strategy here, my friends, is pretty simple. Shine the flashlight on her. Ghosts don't like light, so that's the only way to make her stop attacking you. Bullets don't work, but the flashlight will. Sometimes she'll also protect herself with a shield. That's when you'll need to shoot, but after that, just use the flashlight, the little flashlight. I kept going like this until we finally managed to defeat the little angry ghost girl. In the conversation, she apologizes for the confusion and promises to get revenge on her ex-husband. Perfect, now we have all 3 rings. Just use the teleport here and that's it. We calmly arrived at the mansion once again. Now it's time to say goodbye to the caretaker.
Oh, no. No, of course, Felicia, you're my favorite. No, but...
At least it worked.
Yeah, he got taken out without mercy, so let's investigate this mansion. At the entrance, there's like an intercom and an angry little girl talks to us. We easily fool her and manage to get in. Unfortunately, the place is also full of cultists, so after clearing the area, I find another clue and a table. It's simply a beautiful map of the city's sewers. This is definitely going to be relevant. Another clue we have is this photo of Curd. Curd, this is important. Millie, the half-shrew girl living alone in Curd's mansion, is actually his illegitimate daughter. An old, grainy photo shows Miles Curd with a little girl beside him. Well, the two look pretty uncomfortable, but even though he's uncomfortable, Curd seems a little less tense than you remember. Whoa, guys, that's pretty interesting, huh? Did he get involved with some shrew? Him, of all people, who likes to badmouth the little mice. And one more clue we have is a dossier about that shady cult that's always popping up around here. Files, documents, and photos, all stuffed into a thin folder. It contains information about several members of the cult and highlights the poorly disguised plan of PR to snoop around at some so-called secret show. But man, what the heck is this so-called secret show? It seems to be something important for the PR members. Exploring the rest of the house, we finally reach the little girl. Fine.
Who the heck are you? Beat it, or I'm calling my dad right...
Dad?
Of course.
Picking up phones in strange places wasn't really my thing, but this one was just asking for it. Hello? Oh.
Betty Lynch is scratched off the picture.
What?
And the cheeks
What?
have crumbled.
This is the operator. There's been a murder at the secret show. Miles Kurt is dead. I repeat, Miles Kurt is dead.
Man, I didn't see that coming. Poor little Millie Mouse. She had nothing to do with this, and now she's without her father. We decided to leave Millie in my neighborhood since it was safer there. All that was left was to go back to the office and analyze the clues, talking with Vivian. In the room, I couldn't find Vivian anywhere. Ignoring that, I kept laying out the clues, and finally we have the death of Miles Kurd, but we still don't know any details about it. That way, we've reached a dead end. And now all that was left was to continue with Panda's mission. Let's hop in the car and travel to another stinky place. First objective, investigate the rundown house. Going deeper into the basement, we found corrupt cops and interrogated them. Apparently the plan was to blow up all the Shedder Band members, as the police no longer need them. So my new objective is to try to find the leader of the Shadow Shedder Zeros to try to get some information. Let's explore this cursed swamp then. Here we have the biggest mistake of this game, which is making me send doggies to their doom. Man, these corrupt cops have to pay for this. For every Pluto I sent to heaven, there's bread. But anyway, nearby we have a good clue about where the Shedder Bandits are. Despite the questionable spelling, it says, guys, the cops are coming. Go to the main mansion. You know where. We have a lead, guys. So let's head to this main mansion. It doesn't take long until I spot it. The path there is filled with a bunch of thugs, but everything's under control until we reach an abandoned mine. And the elevator really lets us down. It was so dark that I almost ate cheese out of fear. Just kidding, man. Actually, it was just a misclick with the flashlight, but I didn't even need it because actually we were already downstairs. Here we learned the skill of using the transport pipes. Come on, I wouldn't be a respectable rat if I didn't know how to get around through pipes, right? What's up, guys? Pretty chill. After finding the right path, we made it to the mansion, but let's just say this place isn't exactly safe. In one room, something terrifying was about to happen to you.
Come on, Bojack!
What in the absolute silence?
The dissonance, the song. Do you hear it?
No.
The unknown! It sings!
Yeah, I can sing too, but you won't like it.
And so begins the boss fight against the furious cultist. He says he hears voices from the unknown. I wonder if it has anything to do with the project that Steve Bandel was looking at with the scientists. Anyway, for now, all that was left was to shoot this fool. I easily find a good spot to shoot him without being interrupted, homie. And just like that, we take him down. That broken floor was all an illusion. Yeah, these cultists have some questionable powers. In one of the diary notes on the floor, we have the following information. The case was almost coming to an end when the trail went cold. Those cultists dragged Marlene to the old mansion in the swamp, and I followed. I went further than I should have, and for a moment, I saw it. The unknown, it came to me, left a mark, broke something inside me. At first, they were just dreams. Strange dreams, terrible and beautiful. I can't even say when they started to mix with the real world, but at that moment, I was sure. This place, this life, is just a page in a much bigger picture, and beyond this, there's much more. I tried to convince myself to let it go, to ignore those disturbing dreams and leave that rotten town, but I couldn't. That feeling didn't go away. I needed to see it again, finish what I had started, or at least find another crack in the wall. Damn, this unknown thing is definitely some kind of supernatural power, or an entity, or maybe even another dimension. Moving on, heading toward the Cheddar Bandits base, we found another clue. A little doll, one of those voodoo-style ones, which further proves the presence of this cult throughout the swamp, but it feels like there's still so much more we don't know. Much. Moving on, we see that the bandit leader's days are numbered. The police were already on his tail, so let's go take down these corrupt guys. Another clue we found is this badge. It was covered in fondue and blue cheese crumbs. It's good evidence, even though it's sticky, which exposes the side activities of the corrupt cops. After that, we luckily arrived in time to interrogate the boss. He was still alive, and he tells us how this deal started.
It was too good to be true. We took side jobs for the company Redline Incorporated. The idea was to make the Shrews disappear, and to build really nice stores and houses, you know. It seemed like a good deal, but we rushed into it. We were totally fooled. Damn cops and that despicable Zuzu professor. Maybe there's even someone else involved in this. I just wanted one of those houses with white picket fences.
But getting it right.
And through the depths.
Until they sent the...
I'm done for. Be careful. He's coming here and he's crazy. And...
Next, Mice Guff and Mechload appears. Paris. Without much time to think, that place was about to go down, and I needed to escape, and right when I was almost ready to leave the basement.
I'm coming for you. Ha 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 ha. Now, where do you think you're going? Chucky boy. Let's go. No.
It's time for another boss fight. Let's crush Mice Guff. This fight is a bit different because that water around is completely toxic. So you need to move between the wooden platforms without falling. If you stay too long on the same one, it starts to sink. So be careful and keep moving constantly. The guy keeps running non-stop and occasionally summons flying little mice. But it's easy. There's no real secret to the fight. Whenever you can, shoot at the fool and eventually he's done for.
And then what? And you, Bistinue, customized it.
Taking advantage of the moment, I search the boat for anything suspicious and find some notes. Besides the orders to get rid of the Shadowban Cheddar guys, the notebook has two types of records. Complaints about the dumb scientists leaving traces all over the damn path through the depths, and the cops' obsession with a weird craving to eat fried Scottish cottage cheese. Two weirdos in hoods from the Manja e Manja, whatever that is. With that, we have a lot of new pieces to fit together. Before that, I took another look around the map and then headed into town. At the bar, we talked to Stilton, shared all the new information, and also learned, if it wasn't clear before, that Stilton served in the Old World War along with Jack and Steve. The three of them were very close. That's why Jack trusts them to talk about these things. Now, going over to our board, we had 5 new clues to add. In short, we got 2 leads. Go down into the depths to look for the Shrews, and go talk to Bozo to try to find out something about this so-called Manja e Manja. While we're at it, let's talk to that fool and ask about his knowledge of the cults. And he says that some strange people came from the north a few months ago, matching all the visual characteristics of the folks we saw on the missions. It seems they were hanging around the Secret Show area. The full name is the Secret Show Manja e Manja, a big fair that's pretty easy to find. Okay, if that's really the case, we've already cleared up some of our doubts. We still need to find out what they do there and what really happens at the secret show. I've already spoken to Millie next door. And Discuda says we're going to the fair and asks me to bring her some balloons. Yeah, it's the least I can do for her after what happened with her father. Don't worry, Millie, I'll bring those balloons for you. Heading to the map, I decide to go to the depths first. Time to look for more traces of the Shrews. We go through several hidden places and face some trash monsters. On the way, we take a picture of some transport cages, where they probably take the little mice. Curiously, we find Grandma Shrew again. She says she's going to guide us to the light, and I hope that's really the case. Then she disappears, and mysteriously an elevator appears behind her. And yes, you can check that this elevator wasn't there before. This is how we get to the Shrews' rundown city. People are really having a hard time here, huh? Poor things. Right there, I find a newspaper that tells a bit more about the violence the little mice suffered in their hometown, Shrewville. According to the article, these acts forced them to move to the countryside. And finally, we meet Grandma again. See, she says she'll help us, but asks for a favor in return. This place is falling apart, and it's only a matter of time before everything floods and everyone gets wrecked. She gives me a valve and just tells me to do what I came here to do. We need to solve this, especially to keep the little mice from dying. The second clue is the magician's cape, which likely belongs to Steve. Look at it. Next, I find the room with the problem Grandma mentioned, and I quickly fix it with that missing valve. I defend the area from unwanted trash bins, and in the middle of the mess, another pipe bursts. Now we need a second valve. Fortunately, it was really far away, and I had to climb a lot on that structure. After taking down a bunch of people, discovering the Balenciaga brand, and facing more waves of rat enemies, we magically find Grandma Shrew once again. She did us a favor and gave us the VIP pass that we'll use later on. Don't ask me how she does it, let's just accept the facts. Then we caught the valve that kept running away, leading me right into a trap. In this battle arena, there was no other option but to go full Popeye with the spinach. After that, just enjoy the beatdown without mercy in this stomp. In the end, after you put everyone to sleep, you'll find a nice clue on the painting next to you. It's the map showing the cages are headed to the marsh, the worst part of the swamp. It looks bad, but there's no other way. Finally, now making my way back, I realize we'll have to swim to put the valve in place. But don't worry, it's pretty easy. All I had to do then was report back to Grandma Shrew that everything was sorted. Helping her gave us several clues for our case. Thanks, Grandma. We're in this together. Time to return to the office. In the city, I gathered all the new clues, so now we can go to the swamp too. But to keep things simple, I'm heading to the secret show. In this strange place, the police officer is already blocking our way suspiciously, not letting anyone in, but we always find a way, right? And when we finally manage to get on stage, we see that the investigation into Miles' murder is underway. I take the opportunity to snap a picture of the scene. Right there, we talk to the elephant tamer. He says the elephant was responsible. It seems that the elephant Francesco has a little problem. He's addicted to cheese of questionable origin. I think it's a good idea for us to try to talk to him to understand more about what happened. But first, I needed to talk to the janitor. With him, you'll learn the wall jump skill. Just thank me, my friend. We're in this together. Moving forward, the path won't be simple. I need to defeat some trash, collect tickets, and along the way, this newspaper shares some of the place's story. A long time ago, this was the Squirrel Cemetery. Later, it became the site of a tragic mining accident where several shrews were swept away. But it was also a meeting point for shady deals and bizarre experiments. And today, it's this happy circus with strange people, including the cult folks. Wow, what a nice place, huh? Only good things happen here. But anyway, moving on, I kept going through the challenges. And along the way, look, there's the elephant Francesco. At first, the jerk doesn't admit he's addicted to cheese, and he doesn't want to talk about what really happened. We'll have to find some evidence to use against him. In the same room, I already find a bucket with a large amount of blue cheese. Next to it, there's a newspaper that talks about Jacob Bunce, or Pierogi Jake for those who know him well. A filthy rat who used to be something or other back in Bahia Pancada. And thanks to rehabilitation programs from Milford and Mayel, he magically turned his life around and became a rich guy important to the Republic of Rat Party. There's definitely something fishy about this story, but anyway, when we talk to that idiot Francesco, we show him the photo. Afraid of getting arrested, he starts giving us some information. The cheese he got was different this time. It smelled different, and it was because of this cheese that he had a different reaction and ended up causing that accident. It could be that someone changed this cheese on purpose, but we'll look into that more. Moving on, we managed to overhear a conversation. And a woman, or a lady, is mentioned as being present at the scene before everything happened, and she probably has something to do with all of this. In another room, we have another clue. A message from Niccolo Mandia, the show's management director. He left this note for a woman. It mentions an important meeting after the show in the clown's backstage area with police and some old world people. I hope we can make it. Back in the hall, now with all 4 notes, we move on to the next area. Let's hurry because we can't be late for the meeting. In this area, you can buy balloons if you've picked up the quest. It will only cost 25 silver. Other than that, we'll have to go through some mini games to unlock the next part of the map. And in this area, things get crazy. A massive wave of enemies appears, and all we can do is survive. After taking everyone down for a long time, we have a pretty questionable path ahead of us. There we can hear and watch a conversation between someone named Zoo the zoo scientist and some police officers.
Now,
add the big one. He counts for 2 because he is very large. Hey, wait, I need a rocket.
I dare you.
Say it one more time.
And, well...
Detective Jack Tefler, I was told you.
you just knocked over half the stuff, so yes, I can interfere.
All right, I'll keep this clear. Nothing poisonous.
Who would have thought now we're facing Two-Face? I mean, it's that secret killer. The bastard made sure not to leave anyone alive, so I'd better be careful. Go. His attacks are boosted with acid and fire, so watch out for that. The tip here is to keep moving constantly, that way you can dodge the shots. The annoying part is he teleports fast, so you have to react quickly. That's not really my style, but we still beat him without much trouble.
That's right, Senior Pepper. We'll have to finish this another day. I'm cash in hand hourly and my time's up. Gotta hurry before my bookkeeper clocks off. Guy's obsessed with westerns and forget it, not your problem.
Wait, who hired you?
I'm not your enemy for now, but don't mistake me for a friend. Hi,
A hitman with a bookkeeper who has a westerns obsession. They just kept getting wilder. Had to snoop around the Tinsel's back lot later. For now, let's see what's left of my suspects.
In the end, at least we still have a clue from the burnt mice. A suspicious access card. Soon we'll see which door it opens. In this room, we talk to some shrews, and they praise me for the battle we won. And not only that, they even give me a prize. A ticket for a boat ride. A party where only important people go. They got it from a distracted cop. Just thank my buddies. There will definitely be suspicious people there. In the end, I thought Jack would at least let them out of the cage, but he was so focused on the case that he ended up forgetting. Sorry, little mice. I tried. Anyway, let's head back to the city. The first thing I do is give the balloons to Millie, and we get a baseball card as a reward. Now, on the board, at the end of all the clues, we get a new lead. Look for this accountant guy on Tinsel Avenue. The killer mentioned him and said he was addicted to westerns, so that's probably why he's there. When I was going outside, there was some idiot yelling in the street. He was a troublemaker from PR Day. We immediately punched the guy and he ran off. Not here, buddy. You have to show respect. And before moving on, I wanted to try a round of baseball card game. And with the new deck we have, man, we crushed it with a bunch of home runs. I didn't even let the CPU score a point. With that, we won our first game. Too good, guys. I just wanted to test it to see if the deck was good. I'll play a little more later. Now I went to talk to Stilton to show him that invitation to the party on the ship. Since he's a politician, he must know something. It seems that for this event, it's not enough just to have the invitation. You also need a recommendation, so he makes us an offer to recommend us. We'll be his informant, sharing everything we discover. Since he's with the mayoral candidate, he needs information. I thought it was simple. Deal done, my friend. We found out that the address is at Rio Calafrio. Later, we'll stop by there. With 3 missions lined up, I start with the visit to the swamp. Here we'll have a large concentration of corrupt police officers. And after chilling on a little boat ride, we blew up some fools and found a note with musical notes in a suspicious cabin. And of course, Granny Shrew again.
This little house. About 40 years ago, it was home to an elderly shrew woman. She was already tired of working, so she built this house by herself, and she lived off what she grew. Some people said she was a witch, but then the company she used to work for bought up this whole area, and she was kicked out of her own house. And now, this place is inhabited by strange people. There are chatterbandists, scientists, and magicians. And 15 days ago, something happened up at the complex on top of the hill, if you want to take a look. Hi, he. Go in peace. Take it easy, you'll get there.
Grandma, as always, speaking in a mysterious way and not giving away information so easily. Possibly that initial story was about her, but okay, we have to figure out a way to get out of this cabin. And at this part, you'll have to deal with the door puzzle. Basically, it's a maze with several paths. Take it easy, try to memorize the names of the rooms. That way, you'll find a way out. In one of those, I even found the piano room, and I played those notes I had found. A message pops up saying secret discovered. A song starts playing, but I don't get anything. Good one. Man, I was expecting something, at least some money. I felt like I got tricked, but I kept going through the door loops, collecting keys, and along the way, we get a clue. In one room, I found a snuff box for powdered cheese that looked really familiar, especially during the war. Could it be Steve's? Now, escaping from that maze of doors, I take down a few more corrupt guys, and I find out where they were taking some shrews. It was towards the asylum on top of the hill. For now, that's it, my friends. Let's get out of here. Back in the city, I put the clues on the board, and the new lead, of course, is to head towards the Curtisville Asylum, but I stick to my plan and go to the Western Studio. Let's see if we can find that accountant. In this map, we can use that Camp Cuphead skill again. I think it's cool how these skills give the game a fresh feel during gameplay. It was a good move by the developers. And after taking down those mobsters, I find the accountant when questioned about suspicious payments, Barry Lynch, and other things. He gets really scared and says there are big players involved. That's why he runs off with his tail between his legs. We have no choice but to chase after him, that idiot. Take out the little rats, and this guy just keeps running. It's impressive. On the way, there was another clue on the ground. A half-torn letter that mentions several names and probably more about the case. Funny how things work out. Our headache named Curdy stopped causing trouble thanks to that lady. It's a shame she doesn't know when to stop. Take money from Chinsel's reserve and make you-know-who take care of this problem. On the wrong side of a road with no way back. The train leaves and never comes back. It shouldn't be hard to find. Now we need to find the accountant's ledger. I'm sure we'll find good information for our case there. Later on, things got so tense that I even had to escape by train. It's not... I barely made it out, friends. The train actually destroyed the door I was about to unlock, but it's fine. We have the ledger inside, and the most suspicious things there are 16 kilos of blue cheese and the last item on the list, a dead actress delivered by Ratuera Incorporated. For now, I think that's what I needed. In the city, I needed to confront Vivian based on these latest clues. Here's the thing, Miles didn't kill Betty. His mansion was full of cultists, mobsters, and the party crowd. Miles gets taken out right after I talk about him, to Vivian. Besides the notes about some showgirl and the accountant's records, faced with the evidence, Vivian plays dumb and asks if we can make some kind of deal. That's basically her confessing, right? For me, the only deal was her. For me, the only deal was her in handcuffs for erasing Miles's ID. But she just says she has other things to do and disappears. Yeah, I have no idea how she disappeared like that, but Jack definitely gets distracted by her beauty, man. Anyway, let's put the clues up on the board. We have a new lead, which is obvious. Let's go to the movie studios. Vivian probably went there. But following our mission order, it was time to pay a visit to the boat party. Looks like we'll find Captain Sims here. I just need to take a picture of him. We were boarding the ship and going through the lower deck, with the Shrews doing the heavy lifting. There were 2 newlywed mice there, and they asked to take a picture. Yeah, pretty random. Finally, when we got to the top, we got into the party mood, but this place is falling apart. I thought this was supposed to be a high-class event, huh? This place is a real dump. The problem is that this event was exclusive to members of the Republic of Rat Party, and I needed their card to get into the party, so let's go, right? Search while we watch the ship destroy itself. We explored quite a bit until I managed to sneak into one of the inner rooms. There, I was able to grab a member card that someone left lying around. I quickly hand it to the clueless security guard, clearing the way so I can keep exploring until I reach Sims's room. Now I just need to take a picture, right guys? Look at that scumbag hanging out with those PR losers. The only problem is that our guy Jack is an old man and forgot to turn off the flash.
What's that?
Shit, I forgot about the damn flash. Well, look at washed up, huh? I remember you, Peppa. Haha. MPD's little shoeshine star.
You
remember me? It wasn't a compliment. Now, you haven't just ruined my day. You've made a mess I'll be cleaning up for weeks. That won't do? Damn right it won't, because your little trafficking side hustle ends here, Captain. I'm burning it all down.
Ha!
Good thing we're moored on the river.
Now die!
And like the scumbag he is, he bails, and we have to defend ourselves from this bunch of pissed off politicians. But it's all good. At this point in the game, we're pretty used to these waves of enemies. Heading outside, all that's left for us now is to defeat the captain. And so, the boss fight begins. Here you need to use the arena's cannons to aim at the scumbag who's flying around in his little plane. And you have to do this while defeating enemies and dodging his attacks. I won't lie, it's pretty annoying to deal with all of this at the same time. The enemies come at you relentlessly, and the guy just won't stop attacking. In fact, some cannons even get completely destroyed. At some point, you're left with only a few, but fortunately, I managed to take him down.
The plane. Yeah, this is gonna be funny.
The plane crashes in the middle of the ship. You're done, you nobody. Now I just need to escape quickly, but that's hard with everything on fire. Getting tips from this tough little mouse, he mentions an emergency inflatable plane in the engine room. Yes, an inflatable plane. Very safe, right? Still, just say thanks, my friend. We're in this together. I shoot the fools, and finally we make it to the plane.
Never meet your heroes, they say. And sometimes they are dead right. Sims, the shining star of the Force, turned out to be the mastermind behind the crooked cops and the Shrew kidnappings. He didn't just bite off more than he could chew. He crossed a mouse that once believed in him. At least the Shrews are safe now. As for my problems, well, nothing a glass or two of John's best fondue can't smooth over.
Back in the city, we celebrated with John after avenging the Shrew buddies for everything Sims had done. He was the one behind it all. But John still didn't seem very relieved. Today it was Sims who did this, but a week or so from now, someone else might show up. Unfortunately, evil was rooted in that society. At least that was John's view, but honestly, he's right. After all, we still have some loose ends in this whole story. It was time to go back to the board. With one loose end tied up, we now had to go to the asylum, and honestly, I'm pretty scared of what I'm gonna find here. So far, only police officers. After making little progress, we have the first clue, a desperate letter or a breakdown, who knows, signed Von Hardzer. So he mixes paint and discovers the perfect ratio for an unknown purpose. Big deal. If I hear the name Bendel one more time, it's going to be trouble. Where? Bring someone who speaks my language and pronounces Z correctly. Schnella. Man, it looks like Bendel discovered something, and this Von Hardzer is pissed about it. It's like he's actually jealous of Steve. Now, what could they be talking about? Right below, there's another clue. Note from the mob doctor, first-rate actor, who is now just a loser blue cheese user. Extramarital affairs can be used as bargaining chips. Funny fact, every now and then, a turd shows up on his pillow. It must be the work of some nasty little ghost. Or something like that. Man, what the heck? The things people come up with. It looks like the patients were being blackmailed, and that's why they cooperated. This is all really weird. Simple. Moving on, we're locked in an area and exposed to some suspicious gas. Yeah, man, we're kind of out of it. Out of nowhere, when we leave, we see Millie. Yeah, that little girl. We're definitely hallucinating. Basically, she's gonna keep showing up and guiding us, just like Grandma Muzarin. All that's left is to keep moving forward, following her directions, and what else could you expect, right? We're in an asylum, so I had to go crazy along with everyone else. At a certain point, we find a talking brain, music, but I think this one is real. This is Desmiolador. First he says he's a weapon of great power, but he just needs some ink. And here in the game, ink is like blood, alright? I don't know what crazy experiment was done for this brain to exist. But the point is that Jack here thought it was a good idea to help him with this mission. That's right. So we start the preparations. In this place, basically, I need to knock the cops onto these stretchers to transfer the ink to the brain until he's satisfied, because possibly this is the weirdest task in this game. Actually, I have no doubt about it. Anyway, after spending time there kicking corrupt cops, it was time to transfer everything to the brain. And now, after everything, Desmiolador is able to communicate better. He thanks us for the help and seems much calmer now. With that, we unlock a new weapon. That's right, it's him, Desmiolador. A talking weapon just like in High on Life. If you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. It was the only thing missing in this game, right? Basically, it sends out brainwave attacks at enemies, making them freeze up for a brief moment and take some damage. Honestly, I found this weapon kind of average. There are better ones. But moving on, I defeat the trash enemies. I get a little tripped out seeing eyes in the darkness. I talk to Millie a few more times. And little by little, it seems like the effects of the gas are wearing off. I just had to take out a few more of them to finally reach the elevator. Around here, we find an extremely bizarre place.
Holy moly, gun, do you see this? Gunny, you. I'm not tripping on cheese fumes anymore.
Yeah, guys, looks like the gun doesn't talk. It was all a trip because of the gas. But now this portal here is real, so let's jump in and see what happens. Imperatrice and...
Alright, this is way above my pay grade.
Man, what kind of trippy place is this? I decide to go in some random direction, but I keep going around in circles non-stop, not getting anywhere. And when I decide to go the other way, we find a door. When we go in, we end up in another area. It's like this portal takes us to different alternate realities, with the doors connecting everything. In the middle of all this trippy stuff, I see an image that reminds me of Steve Bandel, but I can't get close in time. We keep moving forward until we reach a cart made out of a bathtub. I won't lie, this part was pretty cool. Then this damn thing takes me to another portal, and as soon as I go in, there's this letter left by Steve. Everyone is after me, the party, the iron-headed bone guys. But I just realized that the world is much bigger than what I have here, especially when you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. Looking to the side, yeah, we're in the nether, guys. What a mess, huh? We can officially say that our human Jack went to hell to solve the case. Literally. I just wanted to turn around and leave, but there was no way. We almost found something from Steve. The good thing is, everyone you bring down here just stays, right? Along the way, we found a new weapon. Yeah, this is the Hellraiser, a little electric saw from the devil himself that's going to be used to cut everyone up. Honestly, that's another weapon I didn't use much either. I already had my favorites at this point in the game, and after blowing some creepy trumpets, we caused chaos in that place that was already pretty bad. I kept going, dodging the hammer blows until we finally found a door that would get us out of this cursed place. Steve was really close, but he kept running away all the time. I had to go through more door puzzles, watch a suspicious car accident, did some weird parkour, crossed the unknown once again, went through more doors until I finally reached his possible hiding place. You're Steve.
Steve, it's me, Jack.
And make sure to memorize this image here, it's very complex. Entering the arena, we start the fight against Bendel's infernal show. And from what he says, he hasn't even recognized me yet. All that's left for me is to beat this damn show. You. With the cards turned over, the game begins. Honestly, this challenge here is ultra mega easy. You just need to see which card he shows. For example, here it was the spades card. And then you stand on any card of the same suit because the others will disappear. This way, the game repeats and new rounds of cards keep appearing, until at some point it gets a little harder to find the card of the suit he chose. But even so, it's pretty chill, you won't have any problems. After surviving all the rounds, now we can talk to him. Finally, after more than 10 hours of gameplay, look at the bastard there. Yeah, so Jack, how's it going? Hey Jack, are you messing with me, man? Come on. Yeah, aside from this heated moment, I'm gonna sum up the super long conversation we have with Steve. I'll explain everything to you, so pay attention. Steve had an honest job as a magician, but he always had a great curiosity about the unknown ever since the time of the war. Steve spent a good part of his fortune on this quest, even inviting a cult to help. We already know that didn't work out very well. That's when he discovered that the missing power he needed was ink, a large amount of ink. In the meantime, he met Betty Lynch, and Betty introduced him to Von Harzer, who's the so-called Zoe Professor, a scientist from the old world. That way, the two of them would work together, exploring the unknown. Steve provided all the financial support, resources, and anything he needed to finish the portal in his laboratory at the mansion. And then comes the matter of the little mice. Steve gave the tip about the shrews, and the test concluded that their ink gave better results. And then the scientists started targeting the shrews. We already know all about that whole thing between Captain Sims and the scientist, right? Some kind of deal was made there, so the research could continue. That's when Steve realized the mess had gone way beyond his control. He was already being chased by a masked psychopath, and even the PR party got involved. With everything happening, all he could do was run. After all this, the mess is still huge, right? Because they built a new portal here in the asylum, which is actually how we got here, and Steve trusts that we're gonna solve this case to the end. But he prefers to stay there, accepting his fate, living in the unknown. As for us, all we could do was go back and put an end to this Zoho professor. Well guys, this is where we say goodbye to our friend Steve. He messed up a lot, but Jack still has a lot of empathy and respect for their friendship. That's why we're just leaving, letting him live with his own choices. Let's use this mirror and go back home.
Seeing Steve again wasn't the clean break I wanted. Because he was still dirty, still a bastard, still that cynical son of a... But he was my war buddy. And he wasn't dead. Part of me hated that I felt relief. Maybe he changed. Maybe he finally grew a conscience. Or maybe I'm a fool, growing yet another soft spot. Maybe. In the end, we're all just cards in some rich man's machine, grinding away until we break.
Back in the city, I'm definitely going to talk about all this with Wanda. After all, she was the one who gave me this case in the first place. In the middle of all this, Wanda gives me a huge tip, saying she heard about a strange submarine that showed up at the docks, and it had markings from the old world. For sure, that's where that damn Zoho professor is. Just thank you, Wanda. You're awesome. But let's go. Putting the clues on the board, we finish the mystery of finding Steve. Now, we still had 2 more missions to complete. Following our order, let's head to Tinsel Avenue, try to find Vivian. Right at the beginning, on this TV, we see Vivian talking to someone named Reginald, but I don't know if it's real or just acting. Later on, I get some tips from the pyrotechnician on how to get to the control room, but something really crazy happens here. She...
Não é possível um bagulho desse.
You moron! Pepper's here! Pepper?
Caraca.
That stings me! Jack Pepper, you imbecile! Call the bodyguards now!
Yeah, guys, this really isn't acting, and Vivian knows we're here. But hold on, man, look at these colors, my friends. Be honest, isn't it kind of a relief for your eyes to see this after the whole video so far has been in black and white? I was happy at this part, but all good things come to an end, right? Soon we had to go back to hanging around these gray areas. And in this room, which is curiously similar to my office, we have a newspaper that talks about the Tinsel Brother. They don't pay extras, and they pressure the directors with intense filming work. Moving on, we go through several well-produced and assembled sets. And of course, I have to shoot everyone who shows up in front of me. At one point, we even activate Cuphead's power, and I just start taking everyone down with a single shot. Get out of my way, you bunch of losers. Then we keep going through the colorful sets until we reach a room where I'm judged and declared guilty by Judge Fatal. Unable to argue, there was only one thing left to do: shoot everyone. And believe it or not, this is a boss fight, so don't forget to attack. Judge Fatal up there too, otherwise the enemy wave will be endless. And with my disintegrator, my friend, she just melted. Sorry, my partner. Moving a bit further, we activated the first switch. The next area was this one from Beauty and the Beast. And really guys, at the end of the whole path, we found the Beast. Oh damn. Or in this case, this is Beast Fatal. This bastard is really dangerous. Be very careful not to get hit by those candelabras he throws, because check out the damage he does. If you get hit by 3 of those, you're done for. So watch your health, grab the drinks, and eat cheese. Other than that, keep attacking whenever possible and don't stop moving. Otherwise, he'll hit you. The fight itself won't change much beyond that. And at the very end, I find out that staying behind the pillar is a good strategy, but it's all good, we took him down. And check this out, there were 2 Muzaranho actors inside the Beast. Now we made it through the pipe and reached the second switch, but something was about to happen.
How are you still alive? Alive? Just stop! Pepper! Now!
So,
I know!
Just a little change of scenery.
Let's move on to the boss fight against Reginaldo. He keeps teleporting a lot and also throws some bombs. Besides that, he has another skill that puts a target on you. At this point, try to hide behind some kind of cover. That way, you won't have any problems. He likes to attack from a distance, so you won't always be able to get close to him. Whenever he throws those firebombs, some waves of enemies will come right after. Defeat them all to continue the fight with Lixoso. I found this little corner by the wall really useful at these moments. The fire doesn't reach here, and the enemies will always come from the same direction, so that's a tip for you. Other than that, the fight will stay like this until near the end, when he'll pull off something else.
Keep shooting for an hour and neither of us would win.
I just handed you your ass, genius.
Let's settle this the good old Tinsel way. Tense away.
Whether by the power of cinema rules I accept.
What the hell did I just say that?
Hey, let's go!
Prepare for a lesson this day.
The guy wants to come at me with brute force, man. He just wants to fight with punches. But that bastard doesn't deserve any respect. I went crazy and kept chucking rocks at him. I saved the little punch for the end, so he would fall hard to the ground. See you later. Reginaldo. Now I needed to go after Vivi, but the trickster manages to escape. And in the end, I leave a note. Escaped from your claws, another one got away. Don't make that face. You're gonna wrinkle those wonderful eyebrows I've always imagined messing up. Always yours, Vivi. PSPR killed Beth, really. She managed to escape again, but for now, it was better to go back.
That woman! Sure, she got away, but it didn't feel like a bust. The mystery was solved. That's gotta count for something, right? Still, it's a shame we cracked a few too many eggs making this omelette au fromage. All's well and homileto from... All's well and done. It ain't c'est la vie.
It was a rainy day in the city. First I talked to Bozo and he gives me a quest about a friend sent to the docks, and they say he went to sleep with the fishes. We need to confirm if he really kicked the bucket. Then I talked to Wanda and we discuss Vivian a little. It seems like she's already been involved in some shady cases. For example, she once put blue cheese in the principal's office just to get some benefits. But in the end, she was right about her friend being murdered, but also wrong. By blaming Tinsel, the real culprits are in PR. She only realized that at the end, too. Beth got involved in all the parties and probably spilled the beans when she shouldn't have and was taken out by the mafia. But that's all we know so far. I put the rest of the clues on the board, and now we only have one mission left, to go to Fart Bay. Yes, that's the name. It was time to find that lousy professor. First, I need to make my way to the docks, and when I got there, it was already too late. The crooks were already in the submarine and had gone underwater. Now, I needed to find a way to get to them. Right nearby, I found some delicacies that John from DeBar had asked for. Moving on, I shoot those thugs and find Tammy hiding out at the docks. We explain the situation and she says she can help me find a way to dive after the submarine. She said she can make one for me. For a custom-made one, she needs some materials, like a helmet, boots, and a rubber suit. She gives me some tips on where I can find each item, so let's do this. Moving forward. We meet Eddie, and actually Tammy talked about him with Eddie. We get the boots, but he asks for a favor. What happens is that he's been cheating on his wife. He said he was working, but actually he's addicted to fondue. Yeah, I need to go there and tell his wife about this part. He said that at his house, there's also a helmet lying around, and we're free to take it. That's great, man. Eddie, we'll talk later. Just thanks for the boots for now. Exploring the inside of that place, I find an ownerless diving suit, and of course, I already put it in my pocket. Finally, we meet Eddie's wife. Through the plumbing, I try to tell the truth, but she just keeps humming. I didn't understand anything, grabbed my helmet, and left. Going to talk to Tammy, she starts to work. Work that was actually just putting together everything I collected without any effort. Yeah, Tammy is messing with us, right? But that's okay. Now equipped, it was time to get into the cage to be sunk down into the sea to do it.
Glug, glug, glug. Oh. Wait, no, I got the helmet on.
And look, we're in an underwater level. You can even see Jack's reflection in the helmet. I thought this was brilliant, but let's focus on the mission, which is to get to the submarine. And of course, we have aquatic enemies too, including some abyssal fish that will show up and deal area damage. You just need to scare them to get through, but be careful because after a while they come back, okay? During an exploration, I come across something unusual. Bozo's friend, of all people, literally sleeping with the fishes. Man, the game messes with me sometimes and I just can't believe it. But anyway, now I just had to pass this news on to Bozo. Moving on, we finally found a pipe to break into the submarine. Right at the entrance, we're greeted with a message from the unlucky guy. Come on, come on, come on.
Look what has popped into my underwater fortress. Unacceptable! But ha! Your silly toy guns stand no chance against Van Houser's little ultimate Mausvertreiber with kaboom! Halt! Do not touch that, or you'll be swimming in the fishes, Mr. Pepper.
I'm not gonna touch it all over the place.
And so, the fight against the lamest trash guy of all begins. Honestly, this guy has the most annoying fight and dialogue in the whole game. He keeps yelling the same phrase in your ear the whole time. Stop.
And the fight goes on.
Man, this gets really tiring, and here the fight is against the submarine, at least most of the time. You'll need to keep destroying all the attack towers and also some specific structures. Meanwhile, he'll keep sending a bunch of little robots to bother you, but nothing too complicated. The fight takes a while because the inside there is pretty big. And then you have to keep searching the map until you find which damn structure you still need to break. Because until you find them all, the boss fight doesn't move forward. It's kind of divided into waves. And the worst part starts when he decides to activate the submarine's self-destruct during the fight. Then we have 2 minutes and 40 seconds to destroy all the remaining parts of this damn thing. Time keeps ticking as you struggle to find everything before things go wrong. Meanwhile, the towers are attacking and enemies are coming. With 30 seconds left, I find the last tower, unlocking the final part to destroy. At the end of it, the bastard comes down from his little room and faces me one-on-one, and I unload everything I have on him, until finally, this wretch ends up in the gutter. This damn scientist won't harm the Shrew buddies anymore. And that's it, man. This fight is really a pain. Next to the body, we have a clue. We see that the scientists arrived in Mouseburg 3 years ago, invited by the Republic Rat Party. Who would have thought, huh? But anyway, before everything goes down, it was time to leave. I grab the diving suit and get out of there. Good thing the best car in the world was nearby, so let's drive in the middle of the big sea. Back in the city, I tell Bozo that his friend was sleeping with the fishes. He gets it all wrong, thinking his friend died, and gets mad because I didn't do my part in finding him.
Thanks for nothing.
Boss. And in the end, our reward is a baseball card. Next, I talk to John, and in his mission, I get a token. Now, I just had to talk to Wanda and then to Stilton. In both conversations, we vent about not feeling like the case is 100% solved. There are a lot of people involved, a lot of guilty parties, and PR shows up in every situation. But we don't have a clear lead on who to blame there yet. But if things are bad for us, imagine how it is for Mano Bozo. Just check out the doubts the guy has.
Know if the wild's round while we flat. Huh? Think about that.
Yeah, man, the guy is way too much of a flat earther. He's crazy. But anyway, back at the office, we put the last clue on the board. Now all that's left is to investigate the PR members. But after all that, we needed to sleep to clear our heads. But there was still one thing I hadn't done yet, which was to test our current card deck. I played here with the little mouse for a few minutes, won several tokens, and saw the deck was strong. I just didn't finish everything because I thought I'll do it later, right? Let's complete the mission first. You'll understand later why that wasn't the best choice. I had 11 tokens when I decided to stop, and then I went to sleep.
Depois de dia assim, a noite tinha que chegar com tudo. And boy, did it. Armed with half-full glasses of John's finest Vendu, a pillow, and some overdue shadowy. I was out cold feverish. The cases, smoke and mirrors mostly. Just some of it burned too hot and way too vivid. Was it all just a dream? A cheese party aftermath, or I woke up just when the smoke got real. And sure enough, there was fire. The real kind. The kind that consumes everything.
Yeah, man. Suddenly the city was on fire. Outside, John from the bar was calling me. Everyone was behind this attack. Mobsters, cops, the party guys, and so on. They were looking for the evidence we had gathered so far. We just found out that everything was hidden at John's bar, so I needed to go there and check if it was still intact or not. John hopped on the back so we could get there faster. No time to think. There were already enemies on the way, but when we reached Joan's bar, everything was gone. Anything that could incriminate the PR guys had vanished, and there was no time to lose. And using John's emergency pipe, we managed to find a way out. At that moment, there was nothing else to do except send everyone straight to the sergeant, and moving forward, we even had to escape from another flood. That's right, Jack never gets a break. I even had to do parkour to escape. It was pure adrenaline, my friends, and to top it off, along the way we ran into Two-Face again, so what now?
You again. What can I say? We got unfinished business, yeah, you bet.
He really doesn't give up, does he? Fighting him is a lot like the first time. I think he's just teleporting a bit faster, but otherwise it's easy. We use our best weapon and take him down easily. Right after finishing the fight, we hear Wanda, the tough one. She was already outside with the car, ready to give us a ride. So what now?
I was in the trenches, never got caught slipping. Watched the sky tear like paper while artillery wailed overhead. We made the breach deep behind enemy lines and lived to tell the tale. But life's a special kind of turd. Breaks anyone if it feels like my office, a pile of ash. Evidence gone. So I sat down and I had a drink and a few hundred more. For the first time, I didn't know what came next. Good thing someone else did.
Hey,
Jack, he said.
Since you're in deep and I'm the magician, let me be your Deus Ex Machiner for real.
Steve, that son of a bitch always had one more race up his sleeve. He told me from the freaking beyond that he'd made a habit of recording his shadier contacts, and he left a tape in a perch with a view. Somewhere in that mansion of his was the best, and frankly, the only bet I had.
And so, my friends, the great Steve did the right thing. Let's go look for that compromising tape. Back at the mansion, we have to find that place with a good view. Obviously, the police were already here, definitely doing the same thing I came to do. To get there, it was necessary to go through the mansion, but this damn place was full of enemies in this section. Here, you can also find some excerpts from Steve's diary, in case you want a little more background on the friendship among the three of them, the famous Invincible Trio. But it's nothing that changes the story of the campaign, alright? After that, just push a little further and find more parts of the diary. I get another new weapon, that's right, at this point in the game. My friends, this is the portable freezer. It's interesting. If you know how to combo it with another weapon, it freezes and the other one defeats the enemy with a shot. I think that's the strategy with this thing. I did some tests, but like I said, I already had my favorites. During the exploration, I complete puzzles, magical parkours, until we finally find the tape. On it, we'll have evidence incriminating the mayoral candidate Milford Sawyer. Now, we just need to find the perfect place to play it without wasting time. I'm leaving here now. Wanda tells me to meet her at the museum since it could be a great place to play the tape. Welcome to the 1934 World's Fair. As soon as I get there, right at the start, I already have to start shooting. With the few shadows nearby, there's a big suspicious blimp with the PR party logo. Well, that's probably why we're already being targeted by the crowd so soon. In the middle of the way, we meet Musarano at the docks. It seems his partner was crushed by a container and he asks for my help to climb up the crates, reach the lever, and save his friend. At that point, we get a new skill to grab onto the edges of certain specific parts. Who would have thought that up until now, I would learn a new ability, huh? When we reach the top, we save the poor little mouse, but the poor guy had already turned into a piece of paper. Man, this already reminded me of that famous episode of Chavez, where Seu Madruga gets really grumpy after getting squashed by Seu Barriga. But anyway, after saving his partner, he makes sure to open the way, and after another fight, we finally reach Wanda. The plan is to give the tape to editor Chavez, Wanda's boss at the newspaper, who would be in the VIP pavilion on the second floor. Around here, you can also take a look at the artwork on display. There's a lot of funny stuff, and once we got to the second floor, we just had to find the VIP area. Even with a lot of people, I managed to make my way through everyone. However, upstairs we found this situation.
Melt the cheese on my belly like this. And then you...
like that.
Because there we have the editor-in-chief and the PR guy eating questionable cheese together, like great friends. In other words, the editor-in-chief has already been bought and is on the PR guy's side too. Going back to talk to Wanda, we discuss what we saw and that we clearly can't trust him with the tape. Wanda gets sad because she'll have to find another newspaper that's impartial and fair to work for, but getting back to what matters, she suggests playing the tape on a recent little-known invention. Milford brought this equipment with him, which shows images and sound at the same time. The idea is that we can play this tape on that device, but of course getting there won't be easy. Finally, when we got to the booth, we even found an old edition of the newspaper. It said very little about Milford, and that he had a falling out with his former party colleague, Cornelius Stilton. And he changed careers, trying to become an actor over on Tinsel Avenue. With that, we can see that some pieces are starting to fit together. But now, let's play the tape over the speakers and let all hell break loose. To tell him,
Get rid of the shrews. I don't care how. I want a clean red line of free housing. Get moving, Stelton, and grab that freaking magician's fortune. I don't care how. Put a whole load on it if you have to. Just do something. And deal with the magician's inheritance while you're at it. Wow, quite the load to unload. All in one breath. Hey, why waste words, right? It's not like anyone's recording. Even those old wild eggheads don't have that kind of attack.
Running away. What a surprise.
Hold up. Why stealth? Current kept out of night sweats upon him, so I greenlit that extreme tornado in the Opera House. Nobody's needed to mad seem from me. It's rapidly not hurting like... Please, that guy's got no...
This rage. He's soft, overpriced cheese, overpriced and sour. You sure are sharp. I'm really glad we're in this together. Overpriced. Overpriced cheese.
and that's where the recording ends. Man, he really gave himself away, huh? There's nothing he can say to defend himself after that, but the guy had run away, so it was time to go after him before it was too late.
Away. Great, he's going up, and you aren't going anywhere. 'Cause guess what? We've got someone really special in here. Someone really close to your cold heart. What? Think, Gumshoe. Who do you care about most? You're the closest thing I have to a dad. There it is. Understanding blooms. Last warning, Peppa. One more step and off goes the head. I swear I will rain fire and habanero shock on you. You're...
Damn, man, he kidnapped Tae, and now things just got serious. Let's take everyone down in the spin-off. Every possible enemy shows up here, so be prepared and keep your aim sharp. And this part of the game here, guys, do you remember? That's right, my friends. We're back at the beginning of the game, but now we're fully upgraded and trained. Here we'll really deal with the same scenes from the introduction. Them.
I run towards the dream. A bright future, ruled by big mice. You absolute pain. Ah, the F-Bang Sawyer. He's way too far. I can hear you just fine, you meddling mouse. Really? With the engines and the wind, don't care. Fair enough. I'll be there in blink, all right?
Until we got to that part of the drop.
You're acting too hard. This is where you fall down.
What crap?
Aren't you a sight for sore eyes? Don't lose your mind just yet. Get him! Get him off my tail! With pleasure!
Who would have thought, guys, Tammy is safe? And not only that, she even came to save us at the right time. And honestly, guys, I thought this part was really cool. You keep jumping between the planes, defeating those jerks, always staying alert to jump at the right time, to keep moving forward. You can't say these guys didn't put in the effort in this part, man. I just thought it was really fun, and after defeating all the losers, Tammy says that actually Milford kidnapped John Brown from the bar. That's why she takes me back to the airship so we can save his life. Let's save him. Guys, that jerk is gonna pay and John will be rescued. When you get to this final little room, you'll find all the ammo in the universe to get well prepared for this battle. There's even a mobile workbench here in case you need to make any upgrades. With everything ready, let's move on.
Trap! Mouse! All right, Sawyer, this is it, the end of the line. And I'd gotten away with it too. If it weren't for you, you meddling mouse. Not without a curd feeding you orders. A puppet's just dead wood without a pulling hand. How dare you? Without me, BMP will find someone else. Maybe not as camera-friendly, sure, but just as easy to steer. 'Cause let's face it, Sawyer, you couldn't scheme your way out of a running wheel. You're just not that smart. You. Why don't you just die already? Too damn stubborn, and you're out of time.
Era Paisley. Milford Sawyer is our final boss. The fight against him has several stages. In fact, at first, we can't even deal any damage to him. The first part is to destroy all those strange speakers. Then dodge a rather long sequence of lasers that will come your way. And be careful not to stay in the corners touching the black smoke, because it will knock you right out of there. A cool detail is that while you're fighting him, you'll hear news reports in the background reacting to the latest events, and Sawyer's reputation going down the drain. And going back to the lasers, those things just keep getting worse and worse. I'm serious. And so, we keep destroying a few more speakers, dodging missiles, more and more endless lasers, and in the end, just a little more of them, until...
Enough of all this, you damn mouse. Your little stunt changes nothing, you hear? Nothing will break BMP. Time to end this, you nightmare rally. Your goons go down, then I'm coming for you. I was supposed to save this for a special occasion. Well, Excelsior something.
Yeah, guys, let's face Pierogi Jake, or the famous Jacob Bunce, the former bandit who suddenly became Milford Sawyer's right-hand man out of nowhere. That's when an arena full of party members appears. Our mission turns endless, so we just start shooting without mercy. It's the most arcade-like boomer shooter moment in the game, man, because the enemies just keep coming. Cheese and defense drop on the ground, and you just don't stop shooting. Jake is a little tough, but that's the only annoying thing about him. Other than that, his attacks are pretty limited. You're done for, loser! After that fight, Sawyer gets pissed and finally comes down to play. That's when things get totally crazy. It's monsters, bombs, and projectiles flying at you all the time. Meanwhile, whenever you can, keep shooting at the boss. Since he's trash, his health goes down pretty fast. And when I was almost done for, I finish off that dry pasta once and for all.
Of them, end of the line. I'll just shut your damn mouth. You're a dead mouse. Dead.
And in the end, to make it even more satisfying, we didn't leave anything for Betinho.
It'll be okay. My body will be okay. Right. Right? Saw you later, pal. That was just crap. I gotta use it. Burn that one. Don't use that one.
The focus now was to save our friend John. Talking to him, the tough guy said he heard about some escape plans in the back. With all the problems solved, the enemies defeated, all that was left was to leave this place to finally live a peaceful life.
What a wild ride. John is safe. Tammy made it through. The crooks are down, the little guys are up. With a shot at a better tomorrow. A couple of days of peace if we're lucky. Still, something tells me there are cheese strings out there yet to be unraveled. But today I'm done. Who am I kidding? The journey goes on straight through the night. Hoping Dawn remembers the show.
Man, we finished the game, dude, and I can't let this wonderful song play because otherwise I'll get a huge copyright strike. Check it out, guys. I tried to go back, but the game puts you right back at this exact moment. In other words, you can't go back to keep doing things in the game. So if you left some things behind, man, I'd say this. Don't start the mission after sleeping. You know you need to get some rest before you start. Because after you do that, my friend, that's it, man. Chaos will start, the city will catch fire, and you won't be able to do a lot of things anymore. So I strongly recommend you don't do that. Finish everything you can. That's it, man. The game isn't very forgiving, okay? In many stages, if you haven't found the items, there's no way to go back. There's no way to redo it. So the game just isn't forgiving in that regard. That's why I won't be able to complete everything, that part of the missions I wanted to do. But you just unlock a shock weapon there by completing the 20 matches, right? The 20 coins from Spike D, alright? They're in our friend John's fridge, so if you want to check out which weapon it is, just win the 20 matches. It's pretty easy, okay? I had won 11 matches if I'm not mistaken. Or rather, I already had 11 tokens, but then I thought I'll continue later, right? I still knew there were 4 more missions left, but the problem is that, or rather 3 more missions, but they're in sequence. There's no pause between them, so I thought I'd have enough time, but I didn't, guys. Anyway, here's that tip for you. The game doesn't forgive, and if you want to get 100% in it, you'll have to keep messing around with the autosaves, always going back to the saves to be able to go to other parts, alright? Other than that, my friends, I sincerely hope you enjoyed this game, enjoyed its story, and enjoyed this complete gameplay from start to finish, at least doing all the main missions of the game. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think there will be a sequel? I heard there's a DLC, but I don't know what it's about, if it's really a side story or just cosmetics. But anyway, I'll stop here. Check out the videos on the screen to keep watching the channel, and I'll see you in next week's video. Big hug to you all, God bless, and we're in this together. Bye.